Why is the Congress so keen to give the Lingayats their own minority status? Is it because they really care about the welfare and the benefit of the Lingayat community? Of course not. We're going to talk about it on the show today. My name is Sham Sharma. Welcome to the Sham Sharma Show. Hello, and welcome. Welcome to another edition of the Sham Sharma Show. Thanks very much for joining me. Thanks very much for watching. I appreciate you. All right, guys, after a little break, I am back.
I'm back.
And if you're wondering why my voice is sexier than usual, it's because I've been very sick. But I'm better now, and I'm keen to get right into it. So just recently, Rahul Gandhi spoke at the Congress plenary session, and he talked about how BJP is a divisive party, and all BJP does is divide India, and only Congress can unite India. So he goes and says that thing in the Congress plenary session, and then the Congress party in Karnataka goes ahead and decides to divide the Hindu community even more. So the Congress party recently recommended to recognize the Lingayat community in Karnataka as a separate religious community and as a religious minority. So let's talk about who the Lingayats are. Lingayats are a community based primarily in Karnataka. They are also commonly known as Veerashaiva, even though some people think that there are differences and some people think that the two communities are the same. Lingayats are traditionally followers of Shiva, and they're also followers of a 12th century saint called Basavan. And the Lingayats have been asking to be included in a list of religious minorities in India. Now, one of the issues is why they're asking for this demand. Why are they asking for this minority status? And the media, if you believe them, they have been putting out all sorts of strange reasons for asking for this inclusion. Now, the media has been saying that they've been asking for this inclusion into a separate religion because they're actually not Hindus, because they don't want to be associated with Hinduism, because they actually don't want to be associated with the caste system in any way. They don't want to be associated with the Hindu philosophy in any way. And they actually are a distinct religion. They actually claim to be a distinct religion. This is the same thing that the British did with the Sikhs. The media is again trying to, and the whole left liberal establishment is again trying to fracture Hindu society, and it's just death by 1,000 cuts. It is a technique that has been employed by people in India towards Hindus for decades now, and that's again something we need to watch out for. Okay, so if that's not the demand, if that's not the reason why they're looking to become a minority religion, what is the actual reason? The real reason here is the benefit that these minority communities get, particularly from Article 30. So Article 30 of the Indian Constitution gives minority communities the right to minorities to establish and administer educational institutions. Section 1, all minorities, whether based on religion or language, shall have the right to establish and administer educational institutions of their choice. In making any laws providing for the compulsory acquisition of any property or any educational institution established and administered by a minority referred to in Clause 1, the state shall ensure that the amount fixed by or determined under such law for the acquisition of such property is such as would not restrict or abrogate the right guaranteed under that clause. And this is one of the main reasons why these communities are applying for this minority status. Because previously, before the Lingayats, you've had communities like the Arya Samaj apply for minority status. And one of the big reasons why they were applying for this minority status was to get the benefits of Article 30, Section 1. The Brahmo Samaj has applied for minority status. The Ramakrishna Mission has applied for minority status precisely again to get the benefits of Article 30, Section 1. And other communities like the Sindhis have also applied for minority status. Now, of course, the minority status was not granted to these communities, but then again, it was granted to communities like the Jains and the Sikhs. And so, like I said, one of the big reasons why these communities are looking to get a minority status is to get the benefits of managing and running their own educational institutions without any interference. And here's the thing, the Lingayats are not only a very politically active community in Karnataka, they're also a very educationally active community in Karnataka. There are many Lingayat organizations and there are many Lingayat mutts which manage hundreds of educational institutions in the state. And here's why they're looking for more freedom to manage their educational institutions as well, is because particularly in the last decade, after the passing of the the Right to Education Act, things have become difficult for certain educational organizations. So under the Right to Education Act, non-minority, unaided schools must set aside 25% of their seats for students from economically weak backgrounds. Now, what has happened because of this provision is that a lot of these schools are just focused on filling up the quota rather than worrying about the actual quality of the education. And that is a problem that a lot of these institutions are facing. And in addition to that, if you add the no detention policy, now the no detention policy has been a very divisive policy. It really divides opinion as to whether it's good for education, whether it's bad for education. There's a section that argues that, it's definitely bad because the no failing policy doesn't give any incentives to students to study and so on and so forth. There's also a counter argument to that, which is again, a topic for a separate video, but what I'm talking about here is that because of these issues, a lot of these schools have been facing a decline in quality. And so a lot of these educational institutions, which in a lot of cases are run by community organizations like the Lingayats in Karnataka, they are thinking that the only way that they can escape these regulations and that the only way that they can maintain the standards of education in their schools and in their educational institutions is if they go for that minority tag, because then the government cannot interfere. And that's one of the reasons that a lot of people are just completely skimming over. And that's very dishonest. Now, here's the real reason as to why the Congress party agreed to create this. Because the elections are coming up in Karnataka in 2018 in just a few months. Right now, the actual decision-making power as to declare a community a religious minority lies with the central government, where the BJP is in power. So what the Congress government has done is they have agreed to this demand and then thrown the ball into the BJP's court. And they've said, well, now, if you agree to this demand, then you are the one actually dividing the country. And if you don't agree to the demand, you run the risk of dividing the Lingayat votes, which traditionally vote for the BJP. I still don't think that this ploy is going to be enough to divide the Lingayat community and divide the Lingayat votes for the BJP. I still think Lingayats should give most of their votes to the BJP. But again, it's important to understand that this Congress party, this is the party that has clearly taken over from the British. I mean, they use divide and rule, maybe as good as the British, maybe even better. And that is why this party, this Congress party, is so dangerous for the integrity of India, for the sovereignty of India. And that is why it is just not an option to allow this party to come back to power. I'm all for a good opposition to the BJP because I think it's very important in democracy. But I don't think that the Congress party should be that opposition. And please let me know your thoughts. I want to put this question out to you as well. What do you think about this whole Lingayat community getting the minority status from the Congress government? Do you think it's just a political ploy? Do you think it's just the party listening to the Lingayat community? Please let me know your opinions in the comment section below because I'd love to hear them. All right, guys, it is great to be back again doing the show, and I will see you again for the Friday show. And until then, why don't you stay happy, stay healthy, and I'll see you soon.